Mike here, let me tell you a little story. He asked me not to say anything and embarrass him on the phone the other day or a couple weeks ago if I was going to be able to make it.
He came from South Bend, Indiana, flew in for a couple hours, he's got to fly back home.
I got to fly back home now. I flew in got in at about 12:45 and I'm flying back out at 6:10. But for Mike, you know, I've had a lot of great athletes that I've coached over the years, and now don't get the point that he was great or anything. When this scrawny little skinny kid came moseying on the track at Sequoia High School from San Francisco with that Lincoln attitude, a city boy, he's going to come down to the, you know, to the country and show us what he's all about. And we kind of straightened him out real quick, but to be honest with you, Mike was, and he's probably told you this already, anyway, he's probably one of the best runners I ever coached, but his poor dad, his dad and I got along real well. I don't know how anybody else got along with him, but we got along really well. And his dad used to say to me before a race, Mike used to be the worst pre-race guy I ever coached, honest to God. He'd worry about every little thing. And his dad would come up to me and he'd say, Mike, let's hope he has a good race today, because I can't afford to buy another pair of shoes. This guy, he'd run a race that wasn't up to his standards. He'd blame it on the shoes. And this honest to God truth. I had poor kids on my club. I was a club coach too when I coached him in high school, but I had a lot of poor kids, and a lot of these guys were, you know, small Hispanic kids that wore 6 and 7 size shoes. Well, they were wearing 8, 9, and 10s, whatever he wore, and they didn't care, because he'd get through the race, he'd throw them over the fence. Honest to God, he'd say, I'm through with these shoes. They're brand new. Do you remember any of that, Greg?
5 or 6 times.
Oh, man. But poor Bill had to get an extra job just to buy shoes for this guy.
But after a while, I didn't do that. I started having a lot of success, and then I just didn't blame anything at all. I just, you know. But Coach taught me how to be tough, how to train hard, and that's what I taught when I was coaching. I'm still upon my kids that I coach, that you got to train hard. I hated all this modern day methods of coaching. I was strictly old school. I learned from Coach. You know,
I was definitely old school.
Oh yeah, you had no time. I mean, you were at practice and we picked you up, and you finished every single workout. There was no excuse to book. And you know, for me, in running across country stuff, which I totally loved, I was a hill runner. I love running hills, and it's because we had Skyline Boulevard and we powered the hills every single day. We ran hills. It was
Greg loved them.
You know, so, and over here against the wall is Greg Moon. We were teammates in junior college. For instance, high school, I was at Sequoia High School. He was at Combine High School. Arch rivalries in high school. We became teammates at junior college and became just great friends. We stayed in contact all these years. So, and
I can't tell you how many races I followed Mike in.
Greg was part of our, we won at the junior college, we won both championships, the North Cal championships, and we were teammates all the way through. We had a very, very successful career together, and it was fun, and we've just stayed in contact all these years, which is really, really neat, you know. And
it is neat to meet him, interrupt, because I asked Mike, yes, I don't even know when I talked, yesterday or the day before, when I finally told you I'm coming out. And I asked him about I named all these guys. What about Bob King? What about? No, I don't keep in touch with him. No, haven't heard from him. Haven't seen him in 30 years. I'm thinking, man, these were all great teammates of his. And then, but he said, Greg Moon's going to be there. And Greg was, we were good buddies too, even though I coached him too on the club. But one thing I'll say about Mike, and I'll let him take the floor again. His 2 mile at Sequoia High School still is a record. He graduated in 1967. And that record still stands today, and that's pretty something to be proud of, because Greg can attest to the tracks that we ran on back in those days. You know, it was this much dirt. There wasn't any all-weather, and but for a record to hold that long, that's longer than Jesse Owens' long jump record last year.
Pretty good deal.
It's a pleasure to be here. I didn't know you had this many friends. Most of them must be your wives. But it's really a pleasure to be here, and I was honored that Mike invited me to come. he probably thought I was dead somewhere, but he's a great guy to be a friend to, and I'm sure Greg will attest to that too, having been around him for all these years.
Mike was the inspiration. Mike was the hardest working runner I've ever met.
And excuse me, I just want to say something on behalf of the family, if I can do it, because Mike is it in our family. There's nothing you can ask him to do that he won't just jump and do and be there before you hang up the phone. And it's nice to see that he has impacted other people outside the little 10 of us, where we hold him very dear. And we wish you every joy in your retirement.
Yeah.
I've got, also here, I got some of my coaching staff, Clyde Carpino, we started coaching together at Fairfield High back in, come on in here, Clyde, 1973. When I came to Fairfield High, Clyde hired me as a track coach. I came from Chico State, and then I was at Chico State, I got asked to be Gerald Circle was a teacher at junior high, asked me if I'd come over and student teach there and also be their track coach. So I was the track coach in junior high for 2 years. We won the section title both years I was there. And then I came to Fairfield High, and the thing that got me a job at Fairfield High was my resume and just from what I had done in athletics, cross-country track. They were interviewing me well, and they said, we'll hire the guy with all the good track stuff. And so got to meet Clyde and put me on as the track coach, and then we coached together from 73 until Clyde stepped down at 85. And then asked me to be the track coach. I never want to be a head track coach. I just want to coach the events I enjoyed coaching: distance running, hurdles, and jumps. My 3 favorite areas to coach. And we coached I was there for 3 more years. Now when Lou stepped down, I went and told the principal. I said, I want to be the track coach. The head coach. The principal, he says, yours. And so we had a pretty successful career when I took over. We won 7 titles, league titles, and 3 section titles in those 13 years. And we should have won 3 straight section titles, but we had a kid get suspended in school the day of the section final, which cost us the title. Walkthroughs out of 4 events. But Clyde and I, we decided that, in fact, I taught Clyde to come back and coach with me, and so when we decided to retire from coaching altogether, we left together. And we had a good job there with us together, and that was our goal. So it's pretty neat. So, and
We had a good time,
and then I got a few athletes over there in the corner. Randy Ritter played soccer for me back in the 70s. And in 1976, we played in the section tournament of champions against Sac High. They were the #1 high school soccer team in the state of California. And I had started the soccer program at Fairfield High. I was the head coach for 17 years. And Randy scored one of our key goals, our 4-1 win over Sac High, who was the #1 team in the state at that time. And then we ended up losing the finals 1-0 on a penalty kick. So Randy ran for me. In the back, I got Susanna Ochoa. Actually, Susanna Branis now, and that's her husband Jonathan back there. But she was one of my all-time great distance runners I had at Fairfield High. I just totally loved coaching her. It was an absolute joy to coach. And who else? Anybody else? Other athletes came. There's a couple more supposed to come. In the back over there is Dr. Young. He's my chiropractor.
Yeah. Leave your business card.
What happened was back in the 90s when I started lifting weights. I got lifting really heavy and started lifting a lot of weight. And most don't realize I benched 275 back in the 90s, and I was pretty strong and working out. But I was working out with Ross Ritter. Texas. Christmas vacation, he called, went to school, worked out, and I threw my lower back out working out and lifting really heavy. And I was home. Christmas, and I was on the floor with a bad back and could not even move. And then Susie Geiskoff came by and said, I've got a guy you should see, Dr. Young. And so Mike's become a great friend, and he's my beck and call. If I need to see him, he sees me. And he kept me on my feet all my years coaching track when I had a bad back. I'll tell you.
You've come a long way, Mike, because in the old days you had a psychologist.
And then over here, we've got a man I've taught with we were hired the same day at Fairfield High back in 1973. And he's suffering from cancer right now. And he's here going to chemo. He's here, Pat Crutcher. Yeah, we did. So we retired together. So.
Good.
Okay. Twins. We talked about that a long time through the years about retiring together, and so we did it. So In fact, when he told me that, I didn't know he was sick, and then I found out, he was saying that Mr. Carter's leaving Fairfield High, and I said, what do you mean he's not leaving? We're not leaving, we're leaving together. And then I went to find out, and he was gonna tell me that day, and then, so we just decided that we would go out together, so, you know. But everybody here has been very instrumental in my life, and so thanks for coming, enjoy the party, and have food, and just celebrate.
Yay. Good, Jim.